How to paint your rifle camouflage, right now on Pirate Firearms and Reloading. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to cover a really basic task, but as I found out with the paracord wrapping of a lever gun, it turns out you guys love these sort of videos, so here we go. Now, I'm not saying I have the right method or the perfect one, but this is what's worked for me over the years. I don't use any stencils or anything like that. I purely just freehand it. I think part of camouflage spray paint in the first place is just having the confidence to go and do it. The cool thing about using rattle cans is if you don't like it, you can always go over it again. So I'll go through what I'm doing to prepare this rifle, and then we'll get started. Now, you may also notice this is the MDT Hunt 26 chassis. So I covered that in the last video, and I said after I'd shot it, I was going to go back to spray painting it just like I traditionally did. I love the raw carbon fiber. So you'll see in the end results, I'm going to leave just a little bit of that carbon fiber exposed, and we'll go from there. So I call this rifle the 308. Because when I shoot it, most people hate to be around me. It's fairly loud being a 16-inch 308. So you're going to see that little name come out in the end. So let's get started. So what I use for these particular projects, and painting all sort of polymer metal doesn't really matter, is this Krylon Ultra Flat Camouflage paint. I've been using this for years, and it has the fusion technology, which has a solvent which bonds specifically to polymers as well. So you want to tape off all the parts you don't want. The thread on the muzzle, the overpressure hole in the side of the receiver. I use the magazine to block the well, and the bolt obviously to block off all the action. And it's very important you either have scope caps or tape them off. And I've taped off the numbers that I want to keep on there too. I've also removed the rubber recoil pad because they don't tend to paint very well, and I've installed the sling stud to hang it on. And you'll notice there's some lettering on the back there, which we talked about earlier, which is masked off too. So it's important you start with the lightest color first. This gives you the best end result. Just remember that the colors you paint first will ultimately disappear the most. So if you're in a place like New Zealand where we don't have a lot of, like, say, desert, you may want to do that color first. The other thing is these #1 can guns. These are really cool to save fatigue from constantly pressing down a spray can, and you simply just slot them onto the top. They fit pretty much all spray paint cans, just like this, and you can go ahead and spray it as if it was a spray gun. Now, shake the can, that is very important, and the first coat you want to do is quite often referred to as a tack coat. So you probably want about 25 to 30% coverage, and it's just to help adhere the paint to the actual surface. Obviously, it goes without saying too, you want to degrease everything before you get going. So I'm just going to go around here doing the tack coat in that light tan sort of color. We have a little bit of alpine scrub and things like that that's tanny colors, but predominantly where I hunt, it's mainly bush, so the greens and the browns are more predominant. So they'll be later coats and they'll show through more. So just work your way around the rifle, trying to cover everything in that 20 to 30% coverage. And then with Krylon, the wait time's pretty short. They say about 30 seconds. Okay folks, so now that that's dried off, it's time to do an actual full coat. So your tack coat's down, you've waited the 30 seconds Krylon recommends. So we'll get full coverage on this. So shaking the can as you go. Now, really cool thing about these Krylon nozzles as well is they are directional. So it's a blue nozzle, and then there's like a little yellow rectangle insert inside it, if you like. And you can set that nozzle up to either spray in sort of a horizontal fan or a vertical fan. So in this case, because I have the rifle hanging vertical, I have it set in a vertical fan. It just means that most of my paint's going on the rifle and not off into the air. Now, any spray painter will tell you that the key is to do light coats and just slowly build up. Because Krylon's flash off time is so quick, you can kind of keep going. You just don't want to stay in one area for a length of time. So you can see that I'm working all around the rifle, different aspects, and then going back over it again. So to save boring you to tears, we're going to speed this up, and we'll come back when I've got a full coat of tan on the bottom. Now, after a good 10 minutes here drying in the sun on both sides, so 20 minutes total, I'm going to now go ahead and add the brown color. So this is probably one of the predominant colors I'm seeing, and here's where you kind of have to just go for it. I'm just doing long sort of stripe patterns. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but as I get further and further on into this, it's going to start to look really good. Now, if you're in a sort of more arid environment, just these two colors would work quite nicely in a similar pattern like this. But because I see more bush, I will add green afterwards. So just work your way around the rifle. The lines and that don't have to connect. You don't have to do lines. You can do dots. If you really wanted, this is where you could take leaves and other things and make like a makeshift stencil. But I've always just preferred to freehand this. So no need to speed this one up. This is all it takes, just a quick spray around like this. After 20 minutes drying, I'm coming back with the olive color. Krylon do two greens in their ultra flat camo line. The other one's like a jungle green. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like a very bright green. We don't have so much of that here, and for like a camo paint job, I prefer subdued colors anyway. It's still matte, but it's just quite a bright color. So I'm just going to work my way around the rifle. There's no set rules on how to do this, just go for it. You sort of can overlap bits of the brown, you can do splotches, you can kind of just go where you feel like it needs a bit more. So the brown lines and stripes that go across the tan are quite bold and bright in terms of their contrast, whereas when you add the olive over the top, you're kind of blending it all in and making it one jumbled little pattern. This is sort of similar to what you even see in the hedge that's behind me. Mixing with the fence, you've got browns, you've got greens, you've got lighter sort of tan colours. Just work your way around and do what feels right. Worst case scenario, if you mess it all up, you can come back and do it again. Here it is in all its glory with the suppressor refitted along with the recoil pad and the cheek riser and the masking pulled it off where I wanted it. So I'm really stoked with the outcome. The cool thing about freehanding it is it will always be unique. I left that raw carbon fiber there exposed like I wanted, and all around it just looks awesome. I'm so stoked, and it blends in when you're out in the bush, and when you're on the range it looks like nothing else. Thanks folks. Got any questions? Hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time.